Hey there, and welcome to Dog Sports Decoded. I'm the host, Megan Ritchie, and today I thought we would walk through 5 great sports to get your dog into if you've never trained anything before in your life, and if you have a high energy dog. So I thought this might be helpful. A lot of people recently got new dogs, maybe are looking for something to do to keep them busy and out of trouble. So this is where I thought, if I was to give recommendations, say to myself back 10 years ago, what would I recommend somebody new start with? This would be it. So I'm going to flip over here and share my screen here, if I can figure out the technology here. All right. So number one is going to be tricks. So pretty simple. And to show you this, I thought it would be easiest just to show you kind of what this might look like. So there's a few different organizations that do trick dog titles. So one that's very common is Do More With Your Dog. They offer various different titling programs, but really why I wanted to recommend tricks is if you've never done anything before, tricks are very, very easy to learn. Really all you need is a bunch of treats or kibble or something to reward your dog with. I picked up this book when I started, and this is by, I think it's Kara Sundance is her name. She does Do More With Your Dog. So I don't know what this was, like $25, and a bag of treats, you're set. You don't need to take a class. I'm going to show you here some different resources with Do More With Your Dog. But yeah, so super easy. It's lots of fun to learn and do, and very easy to start. So this is a great way if you have a really busy, active dog. You can start to have fun with them. Doesn't cost a fortune, and again, it's just a really fun sport to do. So this is Do More With Your Dog, and if you want to see more about their titles, you can go check that information out. But here I've gone to free Facebook classes and list of classes, I think, and they've got what they call Spark teams. So these are volunteer coaches that either have put out training videos to show you how to do some of the beginner tricks, but basically if you join a Spark Facebook group, they're going to walk you through how to do numerous tricks. It's all free, and then you are prepared to take your first novice title. So, you can just click on any one of these. I think I pulled this one up, and you can see different people accomplishing their titles here. I kind of would like to show you one of these here. And I did not prepare this at all. So for this part anyway. So that's an easy thing to do. A lot of them will have videos. I don't know what's going to be on here. Let's try this one really quick here. There you go. So it can be that simple, really. Just teach your dog how to do a simple little trick like that. That one's maybe not so simple to start with, but a lot of these Spark teams do have something like that available. So another great tricks resource here is AKC has put out. They've also got a trick dog program, titling program. And if you search either their YouTube or their website, you can come up with, they've got a handful, 10 or so different tricks here you can do. And again, these are all fairly simple beginner tricks that you can start with. But I thought we'd quickly look at this one here.
Hi, my name's Jen Michaelis, and I'm a certified professional dog trainer, and this is Ringo. Today we're going to teach you how to teach your dog the trick Sit Pretty. If you've ever done yoga, you know it can take time to develop the muscles, balance, and self-control to hold your foot in the air and balance with your other foot. This is going to be the same for dogs with Sit Pretty. It can take them a while to get strong enough to do this trick, and it's easiest for dogs that are small to medium size because they have a lower center of gravity. Have your treats ready in your pocket or treat bag. Put the dog in a sit. You have already taught sit. Hold a treat just above your dog's nose. Say sit pretty, then slowly raise the treat. Good job, good boy.
All right.
As the dog tries to get the treat.
So I'm going to leave it there, but you kind of get the idea. So they've got these great videos, resources. So between the Spark team and this AKC thing, and if you want to pick up a book, something like this, you know, you're going to be set really, really quickly. It's not going to take a whole lot to get you started. So that was number 1 on our list here. Let's see if I can pull my whiteboard up again. So that was tricks. And whoop. So our number 2 we're going to talk is disc dog. And this is maybe a little more, let's leave that for myself if I can figure it out next time. And disc dog is a really fun sport. And again, I just thought I'd show a video here. I'm going to turn off the sound so I can talk over it. This is really probably the video that got me hooked on disc dog. I have nowhere near this talent or ability, but you start to see what's possible, and it's pretty addictive. So this is probably the video that addicted me right here, but it obviously does not look like this when I do it or when you start, but it gives you a pretty good idea of what's possible. And what I love about disc is, compared to a bunch of other sports, it's very, very easy to get competent to the point where you can have fun really, really quickly. So, you know, if you already are able to throw a Frisbee, all you're gonna have to do is teach your dog to catch it. And depending on how toy driven your dog is, you know, they might learn it in 10 minutes and you could be up and playing. So it really depends a little bit on how toy driven your dog is. But even if they don't like Frisbees or toys a whole lot, you can teach them. And again, you know, maybe not these particular drills here that he's doing, you're going to learn overnight, but you can quickly, you know, within a night or two, if your dog's catching the Frisbees, you can get to where you're putting a routine together and out just having fun throwing the Frisbee. So lots of possibilities. And you know, this is kind of something to aspire to here on the video. But one of the reasons I really love disc, all the associations that I'm aware of are very welcoming to newcomers. I'm more familiar with the Updog Challenge games, and that's sort of the competition side, which you don't have to compete at all, but they're a great place to start, a very welcoming organization. If you do end up going to compete or just going to watch a competition, before every different game, they have a quick little like 10-minute instruction put on by the judge or one of the organizers, and they're going to walk you through exactly how to play each different game. So I really love that about it. They're still kind of an up-and-coming sport, so very welcoming to newcomers and really trying to build from the ground up, which I really like. And I think anybody that's new starting out will appreciate that they're a little more welcoming to newbies. But also compared to some of the other sports, it's just so quick to get up and running. You know, you don't have to be a great thrower. Obviously, the better you are, the easier it is for your dog and yourself. But, you know, you really do not have to be that great to start. So that was number 2, disc dog games. And we'll go back here. So number 3, I keep doing this to myself here. See if I can, nope. All right, sorry guys, you're getting rough. Is agility. And that's probably an easier sport to get into in some ways. Again, I've just got a quick little video here to show you what that's about. Many of you have probably seen agility, so it won't be anything kind of new to you, but it's really great sport to get into for a couple reasons. One, it's probably the most popular dog sport, so it's usually very easy to find a class, so that's one of the reasons it's definitely recommended. Very good for active dogs. You can mentally and physically keep them busy, and you can see border collies here. A lot of the herding dogs are very popular in the agility world. This is a very high level competition. You'll see here in a moment. So do not expect this right away, but this is kind of what's possible once they are trained and can do this. I'm not sure the exact number of obstacles in this particular video, but I think when you start in starters. It's been a while since I've done starters. I think it's about 12 to 18 obstacles you do in a row, and it would be nowhere near as complicated as what this course is going to be. But gives you a bit of an idea of what people can work for and what's possible. This is usually the one people know the most about, and again, it's the most popular dog sport, I would say. So very easy to find classes. It's not kind of the top of my list for a few reasons. One, it is more popular, so if you're just starting, it can be hard to get into trials and things like that. And it also can be a little bit more competitive, a little more daunting to go. And it takes, obviously, it takes a lot of equipment to do this. So you really need, I'm just gonna pause it. So you really need to have a class you can enter, or access to a facility to get enough practice to get good at it. And it can take a long time to develop the handling skills so you can tell your dog where to go and what they need to do. So agility, an awesome sport. Again, if you've got a little more remote area, you can probably still find an agility class. So that's great. It's easy to get into. Will definitely occupy your dog, but it can take a little bit longer to learn than some of the other sports to get up and running. So, you know, a typical introductory class is great. You're all excited. Your dog can do all the obstacles. It's awesome. You get to class number 2, sort of the second series. So the first series, they usually introduce all the obstacles, your tunnel, your teeter-totter, all the jumps, things like that we saw in this video. And then the second series usually starts to focus on what the handler does. And that's where I find myself and a lot of other people, it takes a long time to develop the handler skills. So you know where to go and how to position your dog. And then certain obstacles can take a really long time to teach, like the weave poles. If you don't have access to your own weave poles or are training regularly on them, whether that's in a class or you're renting a facility, whatever you're doing, it can take a year or longer to teach your dog to do those weave poles if you're not practicing on a regular basis. So certainly some people can go out there and compete with a dog at 8 months or 12 months and be very, very competitive, but they're practicing pretty regularly. So that's the reason it's number 3 on my list. And that takes us to number 4, which is Canicross. And a lot of you will know it as dog sledding. So I'm just going to show you this quick little video here, but it really encompasses a lot of different things. So people usually think of like the Iditarod, something like that, large sled dog teams running in kind of the north. But as you'll see in this little video, I'll try and maximize it here so you can see a little bit more. It's really a bunch of sports. You can see we've got dogs pulling bikes. And so this is great for if you've got, you know, 1 or 2 dogs that you're really active with. So we've got some runners, so that would be called Canicross. This is a dry land cart, so you can see a bigger team of dogs. Bike joring, you can ski, and while this part looks, I'll say they're very skilled, these are racers, and looks very intense, it can really be something as simple as hiking with your dog. You don't have to go all out and be crazy with it. You can scooter with your dog, you can run with your dog, you can just hike with your dog. But what I love about it is, one, again, it's very quick to pick up. Most of us, the biggest problem we have with our high energy dogs is that they pull us on the leash. You know, loose leash walking can be the bane of our existence. And I know I've been through that with Tess when she was younger, and it was very, very challenging for me. I know it probably took me 3 years to really get a handle on it, working on kind of more rally style, obedient style heel work. It takes a lot of effort, and something like this, if you just want to go out and relax on a hike with your friends or walk your dog, you know, pretty much instantly you can stop your loose leash walking frustration. You can give them a lot of exercise. You know, if you're doing sort of the Canicross or just hiking with them, you've got them on a waist belt, they're not pulling your arm out, you've got a lower center of gravity hooked up to them, as you can see here. So it's just a really, really great solution if you're dealing with kind of that frustration and you're more the outdoorsy person. So I'm gonna stop this really quickly here. I think I might have another video. Nope, the next one's scent work. So that was number 5, was any of the nose work type sports are really good for our dogs. Usually when we think of high energy dogs, we think of active sports like the ones I've previously shown you. So your agility, your fly or your disc, fly ball, which we haven't talked about, and sorry, I'm struggling here, the tricks. So anything more active, that's usually what we think about. Oh, I've got a really active dog, they've got a lot of energy, I need to do something really active with them. And often that can be not the best thing for them. It really depends on their I would say arousal level, something you might not think about. But if you have a dog that gets really excited and amped up, so you go throw a tennis ball for them and it just get higher and higher and higher, amped up, really excited energy, you know, they're vibrating, you know, you're physically maybe going to tire them out, but mentally you're just amping them up even higher. So, you know, that's not always the best mix. And if you have a reactive dog, it can be really challenging. So you can be like, oh, Megan, that's great that you should say we could go to agility class, but you know, my dog doesn't like other dogs. So what can we do? And sometimes these nose work type sports, so I'll talk about a few of them in a minute, but you know, there's quite a few different varieties you can get into. So I'm just going to speak more generically here. But anything that you can get them kind of sniffing is really tiring for them. And we often don't think about that with kind of energetic, busy dogs, but sometimes tiring them out mentally can be the most important. So that's a great thing with tricks. They don't necessarily have to be as busy physically, but mentally it really tires them out, and nose work is sort of the same thing. So it just, you know, they have to use a lot of mental energy to find what you're looking for, and so it can be great. And a lot of these sports are really welcoming to reactive dogs. They've kind of made it so one dog works at a time, and their dogs are not sort of interacting or seeing each other very much, so it can be great for a reactive dog. So this is a scent work class, I believe, or trial, and you can see, so in scent work, they've got some sort of odor, in this case in boxes, and the dog's supposed to go through the boxes, and you can see this dog's indication is a sit, but the dog is supposed to indicate which box has a certain odor. So a common odor might be birch or Ains. I'm saying that right, but anyway, there's certain scents, and each organization might be a little bit different, but the dog just has to indicate to the handler which one is in, and the handler then has to tell the judge. So this would be scent work. And again, this is just the dog has to find a specific odor. So there's a lot of different ways that this can go. You can do this sort of in trick training and teach your dog to find your regular house keys or car keys, something like that, which can be kind of a fun party trick, I'll say. So that's great. You can do something more formal like this, scent work class or test trial. So that's great. You can do something like barn hunt, where they hide rats in tubes in sort of a barn environment, and the dog has to sniff them out, so they don't catch or hurt the rats, but they do find them in these hay bales, and you're kind of timed. So that's a great one. A lot of terriers and things really like that, but it's open to any breeds, and a lot of breeds do really, really well in it. So that's a great option. There's also tracking, which to me is sort of like police work. So they're kind of, in my mind, sort of the origin of the sport would be, you know, tracking bad guys, trying to find where the bad guys have gone, and then the dog has to follow the scent trail to find them. Search and rescue type work would be more using the air current, so the dog's not kind of got its nose along the ground, but they're using the air in the general area to locate a missing person. And then we've also got other classes that you can do as well. So there's quite a few different, you know, some of them you can train your dog to find bed bugs, or I think there's cancer detecting dogs. There's a whole bunch of different scent work type classes, but any of these can be really great to get into for active dogs. And like I said, especially for reactive dogs. So we don't want to really amp them up even more. They've already got kind of a little too much stress in their lives. So something like this will really allow them to use their energy, use their brain, and 10 minutes of scent work can be more exhausting than a 1 hour run. So that's a really great sport. So those are kind of the ones I wanted to tell you about. So I've messed up my whiteboard here, but number 4 was Canny Cross. and dog sledding. So again, many different varieties within that. And then number 5 was nose work, scent work, if I can spell, tracking. You know, there's a lot of different things in there. There's scent hurdle racing. There's a whole bunch of different things you can get involved in, but I just wanted to kind of bring it all together. So again, some great suggestions. I think if you've got a really active dog and you're looking to get them into something but not really sure where to go, tricks are a great first place to start. Very inexpensive to start. You don't need a lot of equipment, easy to get into. Disc dog is another really great thing. Again, not a lot of equipment needed. You need a couple frisbees and you can probably get up and playing, you know, in an evening. So really great sport to start in. Agility, very popular, so it's very easy to find classes and facilities to train in. Again, great for getting that energy out of your dog, but it does take a little bit more dedication on the handler side to progress and improve. And then again, canicross dog sledding is number 4, and that's again just an instant way to reduce your loose leash walking worries. You know, you can hook your dog up to a dog sledding harness with a waist belt and, you know, pretty much instantly solve your loose leash walking problem, because you don't want them to loose leash walk anymore. They're not pulling your arm out. So that's a great thing to get our active dogs out and working without causing us frustration and them frustration. And then lastly, like I said, kind of any of the nose work type sports, a lot of things could be involved in there, but anything that's going to use our dog's natural scenting instinct to use their brain and kind of work out some of that problem solving stuff. So those are the sports I wanted to talk about today. But something I should have mentioned at the start, you know, which one do you start with, or that sort of thing. And I would really say whatever strikes you. Kind of I'm not really sure how to say it, but I think often when it comes to picking dog breeds, I'm not so sure we choose the breeds. I kind of think it's something innate in us that we like about them. So I don't know, for myself, I've always kind of been drawn to sporting dogs, like hunting dogs, you know, your retrievers and pointers and things like that. So while I did pick a specific breed, I think just something in me is drawn to that. And I think it's sort of the same with the sports. So, you know, if you saw a video there and you went, oh, that looks really cool, you know, like if there's something about you that loves Huskies, you're probably going to be a little more drawn to, you know, canicross than maybe Frisbee. I don't know. Or maybe it's different for you. Maybe if you've done ultimate Frisbee in another life and, you know, that's something that you'd really like to get into. So it doesn't have to be dog breed specific which one you go into, but I'm guessing of the 5, there's something, you know, in one of those videos you saw or in something I said that's going to pull you one way or another. So really that's what I would go off of. I've kind of put them in the list, kind of, I don't want to say easiest to hardest, but there's a little bit of organization there. So I do find that the tricks are probably the easiest to get into, followed by the disc. And then agility, like I said, it just takes a little bit longer as a handler to get good at it. So a lot of people, if it's your first class, that can be a big mountain to climb when you're first starting, where something like tricks or disc, you're going to get a lot of forward motion very quickly, where agility, you can kind of get bogged down a little bit and feel like you're not progressing as fast as you'd like to, even though you are. And it's a lot of fun. So if you want to do agility, do it. I've done it. I've loved it. It's a really great sport to get involved in, but it is a bit of a hill to climb to get good at it. So that's just kind of a word of warning. And then canicross is a little different. You know, if you're the outdoorsy type, that might appeal to you a little bit more. Again, doesn't really matter what your dog's size is. If you have a 10-pound Chihuahua, you can hook them up. You know, they're not going to be able to pull you a ton the same way, say a Husky will, but you know, they're still going to get out. They're going to have fun. You're going to have fun together. And it's a great sport regardless of what breed you have. So if that's something you're drawn to, it's something I've really picked up in the last, year or so, and I've really enjoyed it. It's a great sport to be involved in. I especially love it if I'm walking with friends or something like that. If my dogs are not that well behaved with the loose leash walking, it's easy for me to hook them up to a waist belt, and I can focus on having a conversation with my friends and just enjoying their company rather than fighting with my dog the whole time. So I find that's a really easy, fun sport to get into, and it takes a little bit of learning the cues and things like that. But even if you didn't do that, you just hook your dog up, it's going to ease your frustration really quickly, which means you're going to walk your dog more and you're going to have a lot more fun with them. And likewise, hopefully they won't have so much pent up energy. So yeah, and nose work and things like that are also really good to get into. I've put that one kind of more to the end of the list just because it's not necessarily a specialty training, but it works really well for reactive dogs and is kind of its own little bubble, I'll say, where the other ones are maybe a little more physically active. We don't often think of the less physically active, but more mentally tiring nose work. So it's, again, I think you're just going to be drawn to one of those videos more than another, and I would recommend you go with any of them. But I wanted to give you kind of a quick little overview of some different sports. If I could travel back in time and talk to myself when I first started, those would probably be the 5 kind of sports I would look at to get started in. Just a little bit easier, a little more welcoming to newbies. So I hope you've enjoyed that, gotten some information out of it. I'd love to hear what you decide to pick up, and just get out there and have some fun with your dog. So thanks again for joining us. If you want to look for some classes, before I forget, I should share that through my store High Drive. We did create a website called Dog Sport Universe. So we are hoping to host just sort of an event listing service. So if you're looking for a class to get into, you want to get started, you can absolutely go look up there and see if you can find a training facility or a class or trial in your area. So that was our hope when we created that. And again, that's dogsportuniverse.com. If you are on our podcast email list, I will also send an email out with a list of resources where you can go to get started with any of these sports, some of the main associations and some links like that. And if you're not on our email list, you should get on it so you get these future bonuses. So that's it. Thanks for joining me. Go see if one of those sports will work for you. So whatever one kind of tweaked in your brain, go look up the association and go try and find a class and go have some fun with your dog. So thanks for joining us. I'll talk to you guys later.